Hello students, and a massive congratulations to you. You have successfully completed all the major concepts of Chapter 4, Carbon and its Compounds. You conquered covalent bonding, carbon's versatile nature, its chemical properties, and even soaps and detergents. So, welcome to your ultimate revision explainer. I am thrilled to be your guide today as we pull all of this together. We are going to help you easily remember these core concepts, revise quickly, and absolutely score full marks on your exams.
We have got a tight agenda today. First, the basics of carbon. Second, carbon's special properties. Third, families of carbon compounds. Fourth, reactions and important compounds. And finally, soaps and detergents. Let's conquer these together.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, the basics of carbon.
To really understand our chemical protagonist, carbon, you've got to start with the number 6. It's a nonmetal with an atomic number of exactly 6. Its chemical symbol is C. What this means is that it has 2 electrons chilling in its inner K shell and exactly 4 valence electrons in its outer L shell. And honestly, those 4 outer electrons, they are the absolute key to everything carbon does. Because of those 4 outer electrons, we immediately hit a classic 2-mark exam question you absolutely need to know. Why does carbon choose to form covalent bonds instead of ionic ones? Well, the answer is pretty straightforward. Gaining or losing 4 entire electrons to achieve a stable state? No way! That requires a massive amount of energy. So carbon takes the smart route and solves the problem by sharing its electrons with other atoms. This sharing of electrons is literally the definition of a covalent bond. We see this all the time in simple molecules like hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and of course, methane.
Moving right along to Section 2, carbon's special properties.
Carbon essentially has 2 main superpowers. The first is tetravalency. Since it has a valency of 4, it can form 4 separate covalent bonds. The second superpower is catenation, which is its amazing ability to join hands with other carbon atoms. Together, these 2 properties are the reason we have literally millions of different carbon compounds in the world. So, what if you see this highly common 1-mark question pop up on your test asking you to specifically define catenation? What exactly should you write?
You simply tell them that catenation is the extraordinary ability of carbon atoms to form bonds directly with other carbon atoms. This allows them to link up to form long chains, branch out, or even form closed rings. As these carbon atoms link up, they form different types of bonds, which leads us to a really important distinction. Saturated compounds, like ethane, are strict. They contain only single bonds between the carbon atoms. Unsaturated compounds, on the other hand, go a bit further with double or triple bonds. For instance, ethene rocks a double bond and ethane has a triple bond.
All right, Section 3, families of carbon compounds.
The absolute simplest members of the carbon family are hydrocarbons. Just like it sounds, these are compounds containing strictly carbon and hydrogen. Methane, ethane, and propane are all hydrocarbons, and they are incredibly important in our daily lives because they serve as vital fuels. But carbon doesn't just hang out with hydrogen. Sometimes it mixes things up with functional groups. These are atoms that give a compound its specific chemical personality. You've got to memorize this cheat sheet right here. Alcohol is represented by a -OH, aldehyde by a -CHO, carboxylic acid is -COOH, and a ketone is a carbon double bonded to an oxygen. Now if you take organic compounds that have the exact same functional group and line them up, you get what is known as a homologous series. They all share similar chemical properties. And the really cool part is that each successive member steps up the ladder by exactly 1 carbon and 2 hydrogens, which is a CH2 unit. It is perfectly structured chemistry.
Section 4, reactions and important compounds.
So how do these compounds actually behave? Well, there are 4 main reactions you need to know. First is combustion, where compounds burn in oxygen to produce carbon dioxide and water. Second is oxidation, which is basically adding oxygen or removing hydrogen, like when ethanol turns into ethanoic acid. Third, we have addition reactions, where unsaturated compounds add hydrogen using a catalyst. And fourth, substitution reactions. This is literally just swapping one atom out for another, like when methane reacts with chlorine.
Let's look at 2 super important real-world examples. Ethanol, with the formula C2H5OH, is a huge deal. It is used in medicines, as a solvent, and even in perfumes. Then you have ethanoic acid, CH3COOH, which is what we use to prepare vinegar and preserve food.
Actually, speaking of ethanoic acid, here is a quick pop quiz to test your memory for a highly likely one-mark exam question. What is its everyday common name?
Yep, the common name is acetic acid. That is exactly the component that gives household vinegar its distinct, sharp smell and tangy taste.
And finally, Section 5, soaps and detergents. Let's apply what we've learned to everyday cleaning agents.
You absolutely need to know the difference between these two. Soap is the sodium or potassium salt of long-chain fatty acids. We make it by heating fats with sodium hydroxide, which is a process called saponification. But soap has a major weakness. It forms scum in hard water. Detergents, on the other hand, are synthetic chemicals. They do not form scum, which means they work like a total charm, even in hard water.
Now, brace yourself for a long answer question on your exam. You will very likely be asked to explain the specific mechanics behind this. Exactly how does soap clean away dirt?
You can break this down perfectly into 4 logical steps. A soap molecule has 2 ends. Step 1, the hydrophobic end, the part that hates water, grabs onto the dirt and grease. Step 2, the hydrophilic end, the water lover, stays stuck in the surrounding water. Step 3, these molecules form little spherical structures called micelles right around the dirt. And finally, step 4, since the outside of that micelle loves water, the trapped dirt just gets easily washed down the drain when you rinse.
We have covered a ton today, from covalent bonds and catenation to functional groups and soap micelles. Because carbon's special properties allow it to form millions of unique and essential compounds, it truly is the building block of life. It leaves us with a fascinating thought. Considering all the amazing technology and medicine born from carbon chemistry, what groundbreaking new carbon structure is going to be discovered next to completely revolutionize our world? Thank you so much for joining me in this explainer. Best of luck on your exams, you're going to do great, and keep that curiosity alive.